Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we're going to be building a Separatist list for Star Wars Armada, and it's going to be focused a little bit more on bombers. I feel like squadrons for the Separatist aren't always its strongest suit, and having picked up an extra squadron pack, I have a little bit of an abundance of bombers, and it got me thinking about trying to build a heavy bomber list. I'm going to walk you through the process, and we're going to use Ryan Kingston's Fleet Builder. If you're not familiar, I'll put a link in the video description below. If you're new here to the channel, don't forget we're giving away a $25 Amazon gift card. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos to enter to win that. Also, check the links in the description below. Love to have you join our Discord. We're going to be doing some more giveaways that include Discord giveaways in the very near future, so stay tuned for that. All right, so let's talk about the Droid Bomber for the Separatists first. It is a Hyena-class Droid Bomber Squadron. It's got 2 blue against the ships, and it's got a red. I'm sorry, two blue against squadrons, 1 red against ships. This is just beautiful, right? Red dice against ships with bomber. It's kind of like that whole X-Wing thing. The X-Wings have the same thing, but these guys are cheaper than X-Wings. They're heavy, but they have the bomber keyword, and of course, which is good. And they have the AI battery 1. So if you're activated by a squadron command, you're going to get 2 red, which is really good. You can roll a lot of dice that way. I personally love it. It's just beautiful. We have a couple of named bombers also. So when we go into here, I want to take a look at 2 of them. We have the Bactoid prototypes, and we have the DBS 404. First off, we have Bactoid prototypes. Not my favorite, right? They're 16 points. They're a little more expensive, but they are an evade bomber, which is pretty cool. And that's, I think, really the best thing about them is they have defense tokens. It's a bomber that's going to live a little bit longer, and that's kind of what you're paying for. They still have the AI battery 1 and bomber, like you typically expect. They're still heavy, but they also have, while attacking a ship, if another friendly squadron with bombers at the distance 1 of the defender, you may change 1 die to a face with an accuracy icon. Now, those red dice can come up blank, so I understand that, but usually you're only rolling 2 dice anyway. There's usually not, the only time that's going to be useful is if you roll a double and a blank, even after any kind of rerolls. So it's a very, very small chance, and that against a ship that either has brace or an evade. Usually that's going to be the only case, and it's a very, very small corner case. A very small chance for you to actually need that pilot ability, but still you're paying a little bit of a premium to get the defense tokens on this bomber, because again, with only 4 health, they can go splat pretty easily. Slightly better, we have DBS 404. At 17 points, you're paying 1 extra point. Still getting the defense tokens, which is great, but yeah, in this one, you're getting a pilot ability that I think is much better. You still have the same dice pool. While attacking, if you are touching the defender, you may suffer a damage to add 1 die to your attack pool of a color that's already in your attack pool. So this one can now roll 3 red dice, and I absolutely love this one. And technically this works against squadrons also, but I don't know if I want to suffer damage to add to turn 2 blue dice to 3. That one's not worth it. But turning 2 red dice to 3 is really, really cool. So this one I think is much, much better. I'd rather have a whole extra die than just the ability to change a die. So that's definitely good. So we're going to be building in this bomber list. I'm going to build the squadrons first. I'm going to bring, the only named bomber I'm going to bring is 404. For points' sake and for everything to work out, I'm going to be running 6 bombers in total. 5 of them will be the generic Hyena bombers. They're cheaper, and it makes everything kind of fit. I'm going to have a little bit of flack to deal with other squadrons. General Grievous is actually going to go into this one. He is probably the best overall squadron commander in the game, so I struggle, because usually when I'm running bombers, I want to have General Grievous as a commander. He works a little bit better with vulture droids than with Hyena bombers, but he still really kicks butt in a squadron. He is the best squadron that the Separatists have. When he's attacking a ship or a squadron with no readied defense tokens, each of your crit icons adds a damage to the damage total, which means he basically has Bomber without the critical effect, and he has a tremendous amount of damage against enemy squadrons. I love him. Love him, love him, love him. He completely destroys generics, and he also can work against anybody else. You just have to make sure he kind of goes last. He wants to activate last. And for the rest, we're going to put the a named Tri-Fighter in here. We're going to put the Flak of Frock prototypes. This one's going to also help wear down enemy squadrons. They can suffer a damage from him that'll go through any of their fancy damage reduction stuff. Plus, counter 2, also scatter ace, always a nice thing. Swarm, anti-squadron AI, so you're attacking enemy squadrons, you can do some pretty good stuff there. It's just really nice. I just really dig the Flak of Frock prototypes. All right, now that's going to do it. Hopefully. Again, this isn't completely maxed on squadrons, but this is a build. Hopefully, you go up against a light squadron enemy squadron presence. This isn't a build that wants to go against a super heavy enemy squadron presence. It's time to add our ships. I'm going to start off with our flagship. It's going to be a Providence class carrier. Now, our commander in this case, since I can't go with Grievous, Dooku is an option, but he's also a little on the expensive side. But and he's kind of hit or miss, because a lot of people can deal with Dooku. I like Dooku, but I'm not crazy about Dooku. I'm going to go with Martuk, because I feel like Martuk is going to balance out the fleet a little bit, and will give me a little extra ship firepower, and kind of keep this well-rounded. Also help maybe somebody like Grievous get his damage through. If I want my ships to be doing a lot of shooting, I want Grievous to go last. It'll help my ships force the defenders to spend their defense tokens, so this when Grievous does go through, maybe he has a pretty good chance of getting multiple damage through. That's kind of part of that, and so we'll see. Plus, I just think Martuk's an all-around great commander. I think he fits just about all lists. If your opponent has no shields at all left over, that's a good problem to have. And of course, I think that'll be fun. But this is going to be a carrier. So, but I wanted to, since it's also my flagship, I'm going to put electronic countermeasures on this ship. I'm going to give it the fleet command of all fighters follow me. This isn't one that I usually run, but I think it's going to work here. We're going to want these squadrons to move a little bit faster. We do have the Tri-Fighter, but everybody else is speed 4, and I'd love to be able to have them jump up at speed 5. It may be the only chance I get to actually have my bombers make that incredible bombing run. Speed 5 bombers are a thing of beauty. And yes, so that's what I'm kind of hoping for there. This is a ship that I think enemies are going to want to get, try to kill. If they're far away, maybe my squadrons can deal with them. If they stay too close, we're going to put external racks on there. As a kind of, this is a ship that already does really well at close range. We're going to make it, be a little bit more scary at close range. And then for an officer, I'm going to put Takei's on here. He's going to give me a complete flexibility to stay as a carrier and then just get tokens of my choice each turn. I'll probably be doing squadron command the whole time with the Providence. That's kind of my anticipation. And Takei's is going to still allow me to get engineering tokens for ECM or extra squadron command if I want, or nav tokens, or whatever else I might need. Probably a lot of engineering tokens to help recover any shields that do get lost. I'm going to need a backup secondary carrier, and I think the Munificent Comms frigate is going to work very, very well in that role. It doesn't need a whole lot. One of the things I love to put on a Munificent is linked turbolaser towers. This does tremendous work against squadrons, also against ships. This is a red dice heavy ship. It's one of the most beautiful ships in the game, and LTT was like, this ship was made to have LTT, stapled to it in a lot of respects. It's also going to do really well against squadrons with that red squadron die. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And but again, this is a ship that kind of wants to be at long range. It's also a little bit of a slower ship. So I'm going to give this one boosted comms. So now I can activate squadrons at up to long range. Again, this is the flagship is better at close range, but it's got ECM to help it hopefully stay alive a little bit longer while closing the gap. While this Munificent class can stay at longer range. Although you could make the argument, maybe I should put Martok over on the Munificent instead of the Providence. That remains to be seen. I could probably do that. If you're playing around with this list, feel free to do that. That probably makes more sense, but I always just put the commander where the ECM is. That's generally the safer bet for me. All right, lastly, we're going to put a hard cell class transport in here with a bomber command center. Of course, we have lots of red dice rolling. We have to have a bomber command center in the list. We were going to be rolling simply too many red dice against ships. We're going to need some rerolls on those, and this is going to help us do that. And also why I made the choice to not get the other names Droid Bomber Pilot, because of the fact that I'll have some rerolls and I already have some mitigation for bad red dice. So hopefully I won't need double mitigation, especially at a cost premium when I'm already spending a whole lot on Bomber Command Center. And I'm maxed out on points anyway. This puts me at 400 points. Gives me an even number of squads. I have 8 squadrons here, so I have good deployment options. I can do something like the Munificent first, and then or drop the Providence first, maybe at speed 3, and allow some course correction to happen, or drop the hard cell first and see how that goes. He's also a speed 3 ship. He can usually make up the difference, and then start dropping squadrons. So that's, deployment should work out fairly well here. We have to do our assault, defense, and navigation objectives at this point. So let's start off. I'm going to go with surprise attack. It kind of makes up for the fact that I kind of wanted Count Dooku, but didn't really have the points to put him in here. I probably could have if I would have dropped something else. But surprise attack is a good one. It means their flagship's going to be a little closer to me. Maybe my bombers can get a quick run at it. It also means that if I do go up against another heavy squadron list that I'm afraid is going to drop A-wings in the middle of everything, like a lot of players like to do, hopefully I can slow down the squadron command activation of those guys by giving them squadron raid tokens for the first 3 turns of the game. It's something that I'm looking forward to doing. For the other objectives, for our yellow, I'm going to go with Fighter Ambush. This is going to let me have the luxury of kind of putting some of my squadrons out there and positioning them based on enemy fleets. This one is kind of hit or miss, and it's a little bit risky. Certainly better with some rogues or some really, really slow ships. But I still like this one. It means that I don't have to worry about bumping my squadrons, especially when I have so many. I can put them a little bit farther out. And also I get to see where the enemy squadrons are. And the idea here is that I don't want to have everybody within a single activation of where basically one TIE fighter kind of moves in and ties everybody up. So I can spread them out enough to where that's not an issue. And that's one thing I'm looking forward to with that particular objective. Next is superior positions. This one is just great because it means those shots that I get on the rear are going to get me victory tokens. I should have plenty of shots in the rear because activating a lot of squadrons usually works pretty good for superior positions. And that is going to do it for this build. Go ahead and let me know what you think down in the comments section. I'll put a link to Ryan Kingston's Fleet Builder. Let me know if you guys are using that to build your fleets. I think it's the most popular builder out there for a reason, because it is fantastic, and I do love to use it. Plus, it lets you save your fleets if you donate, so be sure to check it out and thank Ryan Kingston for his tremendous work for Star Wars Armada. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons who are amazing and help make this channel possible. Thank you for your continued support. I will talk to you later. I want to thank you all. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. So say we all. Always stop believing. Don't stop dreaming. Wait, don't stop believing. And have a great day.